Hello everyone. Today I am going to do another one of Scraptember's challenges. This time I'm going to be using a sketch by Jessica Ware from Scrappy Sisters. I don't have it right here because it's actually on my phone, which is videotaping this message right now. So I just kind of have it in the back of my mind, and you will see a picture of it as we come into the video. You'll see a picture of that sketch that I'm going to do. So in order to do this sketch today and this challenge, I believe this was for day 22. I'll have to go back and check that, and I will correct myself in my voiceover if I have that wrong. But I believe this sketch was for day 22 of the Scraptember 2022 challenges. And for this sketch, I'm going to be scrapping this lovely photo that my son took. It was about, I don't know, 2 a.m. We were just getting into Michigan. We were up there visiting family, and we stopped at this lookout over Lake Huron about 20 minutes outside of my parents' house, and the moon was just shining so beautifully on the water. My son took this really great picture. You can even see some of the stars in the background. He did a great job with this photograph. And so I'm going to scrap this picture of the lake at 2 a.m. This summer, and with this beautiful moon reflection in the water. To scrap this, I am going to use a couple of pieces from my 49 and Market Spectrum Sherbet collection. Yes, guys, I am still digging into this collection and still doing my best to try to showcase and use these beautiful papers up, which y'all know that I've struggled with, just because they're like my jam, you know what I'm saying? And I love them so much. But when I saw this photograph, and there's a few other pictures my son took too, but this one just really struck me. I immediately thought of this picture, or I'm sorry, this paper here from 49 and Market. It is from the Painted Foundations, and it's called Sprinkled. And it just reminds me of outer space. I know it's not really what it's supposed to be, but that's what it reminds me of, with all of the dots on the page, and then this cool little grid thing in the background, and all of the beautiful writing. I don't know, but this grid and the sprinkles just kind of remind me of outer space. So I thought I really liked this paper. I'm sorry. It feels early for some reason, and it's not. It's actually like 11 a.m., but I'm getting tongue-tied already this morning. So I'm going to use this for my main background of my page. For one of the mats, I'm going to mat this a couple of times because that is what is on the sketch. So one of the mats, I'm going to use another paper from Spectrum Sherbet, and it's from the Solids Cotton Candy. And I'm using this side here so that we can get more of the solid blue around there. And then of course I've got this lovely paper with all the phases of the moon. This actually came from Hobby Lobby, and it was in a paper stack called Stargazer. That's from the Paper Studio. So I'm going to use this as my bigger outside border, and I'm going to use probably about, I don't know, like maybe an inch of border here, showing so that we can see all these phases of the moon. I thought that would be really cool. And then we'll have this paper come in like here, and then just a really skinny border like that. So I'm going to try to get as much of this grid portion as possible in the paper. So that's kind of my plan there for the matting. For embellishments, I have this pretty cutout from Not Just for Boys Kit Club that I may use. We'll see. I have both of these butter and tidal wave ephemera bits from, or ephemera stacks from 49 and Market. I thought that they went well. I liked the butter because it kind of pulls the color of the reflection off the water. And then of course this matches with this section. And then I have these titles from American Crafts. I think this is like the Sun Chaser collection. I'm pretty sure that it is. From Heidi Swap. And so I may use Splendid or Discover or one of these in kind of the blue colors for my title. I haven't decided exactly which one yet, but one of those. And that is what I have so far picked out that I know that I would like to use for this page. So let me go ahead and just get my mats done so that we can get started putting things where they want to go and kind of getting my clusters together. Okay, so I'll be back in just a minute when I have that finished. All right, so I went ahead and I matted the piece twice. I did a little bit of a thicker border with that Phases of the Moon, and then a smaller border with that other piece of 49 in Market. So now I'm going to decorate the cut apart, well, actually a cut out that I got from Not Just for Boys. I'm using 2 of my Nuvo metallic drops. One is in the color turquoise, which is what I'm putting on now, and I'm going to coat the whole thing, just kind of rubbing it in with my finger because I wanted it to have just kind of this rough look to it. I don't really know what I was trying to accomplish. I just kind of knew I wanted it kind of rough, and so it's a bit uneven and a little bit bumpy there, and just like I kind of swirled it on with my fingers. And now I'm going in with the pale gold, and I'm just giving it almost like a little tarnished look in several different areas along this cut file or this cutout that I got. I don't cover the whole thing. It's hard to see here on camera, but in person you can see that there are little sections where there's a little bit of gold tint. Some sections are a little bit more. I'm going to hold it up to you here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Sorry, that went kind of quickly. But I set that aside to dry. It did take quite a little bit of time to dry with all of that Nuvo on it. So now I'm going to go through my ephemera stacks from 49 in Market. I'm using both the butter and the tidal wave stacks from 49 in Market. The butter stacks, as I said before, I thought really brought out the color of the reflection of the moon on the water. And so I kind of like adding that. It kind of draws that out a bit. And then, of course, I'm using the Spectrum Sherbet Tidal Wave collection for ephemera. With that one has the blues and the greens in it, and that's going to pull on that other paper that I have there with 49 in Market. So at this point, I am just going through the stack. I'm fast forwarding some so you don't have to see me going through every single piece, because generally every time I pull out these stacks, I go through every single piece of it and I look to see what I think is going to best fit, what's going to give me the layers that I want. One thing I knew was I really liked that big long piece of butter ephemera in the back. It almost looks like a letterhead or something. And so I tried to make sure that I could still see some of the writing. It has a name up at the top. I think it says Benjamin something or other. And I love how it almost looks like burnt on the edges. So I tried really hard as I was layering the rest of my pieces to not cover up those specific things. I don't know. I just thought that they added a really interesting look and feel to the piece, almost as if it was a little more vintagey than it is. The colors in the photograph, just they kind of feel vintage, so it just really worked out that it matched that butter ephemera. And of course I love the Spectrum Sherbet, so anytime I can get some of that in there, I am going to try. So right now I'm just trying to build up some of the clusters that were in the sketch. So if I'm remembering correctly from the sketch, I know that I showed a picture of it in the beginning. There was a little cluster right there where I'm working on right now, off on the left hand side on the sketch. There was another cluster at the top of the photo and then another one at the bottom of the photo, and then the title went along the bottom. So I'm not really following the clusters super closely around the photo because I'm just kind of matting that all up and just putting stuff all over. Almost like I wanted it to feel like I had just taken the picture and just kind of tossed it on top of a pile of things that I had been saving. So that's kind of what I wanted that to feel like. So I'm not really, like I said, following along with the specific clusters in the sketch. However, they are still pretty much there. But I did want to make sure that I added that one along the left-hand side. So we do have something over there, even though the vast majority of the layout is centered on the right-hand side around the picture. So I went ahead and I laid that cut file part out there. It's going to be tucked a little more underneath. You're not going to see the whole thing. You're going to see about half of it, maybe a little more than half of it, but I just kind of laid it there so that I remembered that I wanted to put it in there. It's now dry, and so I don't want to forget it because I did spend a good amount of time making that look the way that I wanted it to look. And now I thought I needed something that felt a little more naturey on the page. So I went ahead and grabbed the acetate leaves that came with a 49 in Market kit. Now this is not Tidal Wave and it's not butter. I think it's the Vintage Artistry Essentials. I think it's either Essentials or Everyday that I got these. No, you know what? They are Spectrum Sherbet. They are. I'm sorry. These ones are from Spectrum Sherbet. And I just wanted a little bit more nature. Since I did have a picture of the outdoors, there are some trees in the shadow at the very forefront of the picture. So I thought that it went well to put these leaves in. I've used up a lot of that package of acetate leaves and foliage. And so I was really kind of looking for ones that were more yellow. I had some that had a bit more orange tint, but not very much that had like mostly yellow. So it took me a minute to kind of find those. Okay, so I have everything situated. Everything at this point, I went off camera and I glued everything down. So you may see a couple of things have shifted. Like the little viewfinder, I put that down at the bottom instead of on the side. I really liked the balance of that, one being on the top and one being on the bottom. So I did move that, but mostly everything is where I had it. You can see that I have that cut files tucked along the side of all of the matting and the huge cluster around the photograph. So now what I'm doing is I did decide on the title of Splendid for this layout, and I'm just kind of getting it situated where I want it. And then off camera I did pop that up on some foam because there was quite a bit of height to all of that big cluster. So I did pop it up on some foam. In a minute I don't think I have glued down the little piece that says love this most, but I will glue it down if I haven't already because it will stay there. On my two little tags over here, I'm just going to write the date and the location of where we were at, which was at Lake Huron in Michigan. So I just wanted to write those things down. And all right, so I also have these rub-ons, and in the rub-ons they had these little sprinkles of stars and buttons and stitching. So I decided that because I'm looking at the night sky, we can see the stars, we can see the moon, I decided to put a few little clusters of yellow stars here and there on the page. And so I was okay when, like you see there, some of them didn't come off. That's all right. I just moved it up to the top and then put those stars over there. I do this a few times in a few little clusters just to kind of keep that night sky or space, however you want to think about it or look at it, idea at the forefront here, and just added a few little stars. It's hard to see that they're stars, at least from my vantage point here, watching this on my phone as I record. Hopefully you can see that they're stars a little bit more. I do like what it added to the layout. It just gave it more of, you know, that astronomy type feel that I was kind of going for. I know that seems weird because I've got nature and then like ripped paper and burned paper and all of this stuff in the background, but I really did want it to look kind of like it was astronomy. Like, I don't even know how to say what I'm trying to say, but I hope you all kind of understand what I mean. So I'm just going ahead and I'm adding this smattering little bits of stars with the actual star shape in the background. I also found this really cute saying. It says, reach for the stars. So up above that, the little wordy bit up there says every now and then I'm adding reach for the stars, and I thought that was perfect. for this photograph and for the whole vibe that I had going on here. I'm doing this rub on a little bit slower. As you can see, I'm tearing it up just slowly and then rubbing along the ends as I go. Okay, so to end this, I kind of had this idea that I wanted to accentuate some more of what I'm calling stars up in the sky here on the background paper. And so everywhere that there were yellow dots, I am using that pale gold Nuvo Drops to just kind of give some more dimension and interest to the background. And then over on this other side, there was more of the blue dots. And so I decided to use the turquoise Nuvo to accentuate those little dots there. And when it gets done, I really like the effect that it has because it gives some shine and some sparkle to the background. And also it just kind of lets everything stand out a little bit more in the background. So I really like it. It adds some dimension. It adds some interest to the back. Here I'm just going to add a few puffy stars that were on the title sheet that I had pulled out. And I'm thinking this might be pretty close to the end of what I did here. I'm trying to think if I did something else at the end. I know I added 3 stars. I had 3 stars left and I added it in 3 different spots to kind of represent 3 different clusters, even though that one is just one big cluster down there. And yep, that is it. So here is my close-up here. You can see how those little Nuvo Drops in the background just add that metallic sparkle and sheen. Look at all that dimension up there with the top of that cluster. Look at all that shine from those Nuvo on that cut file. I love it so much. Nuvo is kind of my new obsession lately. And I'm also loving these rub-ons. I just think that they add so much interest to the page. So I hope you guys enjoyed the page today and are cheering me on here as I continue to use up my 49 in Market Spectrum Sherbet, which I have been struggling to do. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more videos, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye for now.